Yo, it's gonna be 3 minutes. It's gonna go by fast, y'all. So let's not try to run. It's 33 fucking people. So I'm gonna go up. I'll do about 40, and then.
Have you ever wondered what goes on in the mind of a comedian? Well, I do. I think about it all the time. So, I went down to an open mic at the Southern on the downtown mall in Charlottesville, and I talked to a bunch of comedians. People that were going up on stage for the first time ever, people that have been doing it for a few years, and a seasoned veteran named Chris Allen. Let's start there.
I've been married for 18 years. I have not been a great husband, right? At one point, I literally turned my back on my wife one time.
What's up, man? How you doing, JR?
Good. So, this was an open mic.
It's an open mic, yeah.
But you're a professional comedian.
Yes, I am.
Why do you continue to host the open mic?
I continue to host the open mic to stay fresh, man, to see what the young kids are doing, to see where comedy is going, just to see what new comics are talking about, you know, just to keep yourself fresh, man. You got to stay around that fresh blood if you want to stay excited about it. You know, to being around, like I've been doing it long enough to where like mics and stuff, that's not really exciting, but when you're around people who are excited about it, it does like fester up those old memories of like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like when I see like super young guys out here just talking about bits and talking about comedy, or like you see groups of guys coming from Richmond or whatever little city together, you know, just having fun, talking about shows they've been doing. It just reminds me of a great time of my career. And I love being around that new youthful energy. So, and plus, I just love the stage time, if I'm being honest.
I remember specifically because I was home from my mid-tour in Korea. I was in the military. And I had been over there for like 10 months. We had got married before I left, right? So I hadn't seen my new wife in almost a year. Come back after 10 months, and she takes me out to this club. It's a dope-ass club, having a good time. And at one point, we standing there, this VIP, and I hear this dude, he sounds just like Too Short. I was like, yo, this motherfucker sound like Too Short. And I look around the corner, and it really is Too Short. He's like, yeah, bitch. He's just talking like Too Short. My wife is losing it because she's like a West Coast girl. She's all excited and shit.
How has comedy changed in the years you've been doing it?
It's changed a lot. I will say, I don't mean this softer in the sense of like, oh, you can't say shit anymore, because it's just not true. You can say whatever you want. You just got to find the audience. It's just like, I really think the standard of what's funny on a mainstream level has just, you know, it's gone up. The expectation of a comic has gone higher. And I think it's produced a lot of high-quality comedy. And it also has created other like pockets of comedy where people, if they want to enjoy certain types of comedy, they can do that. And the types of comics they like can become very successful and make a lot of money. So that's definitely a big thing that's changed a lot since I've started comedy. Is like just the different like groups and classes and sects in comedy, if you really look at it that way. Because when I first started, and I will say this, comics still hang out, but it's not like when I first started where like, that's the blue guy, that's the conservative guy, that's the fucking weird guy, this is the clean guy, this is the guy who's getting all the work, this is the, you know, everybody kind of stuck together and like protected each other and kind of like stood up for jokes and all that kind of stuff, but things have changed. You know, is it better, is it worse? I mean, I'm still having a lot of fun. I love it. I'm not gonna be one of these dudes that's like, oh, you can't say shit anymore, because that's not true at all. Somebody made a great point on Twitter a couple weeks ago. They say all these people complain like, oh, I can't say shit anymore. But you look at somebody like Nate Bargatze, that guy isn't saying anything that's offending anybody, and he's literally selling it out arenas. So it's like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
To me, you don't really have a leg to stand on where, you know.
It's a special night. And I don't know, have y'all all been out clubbing before, like at a nice club? Not some bullshit bar, but like a nice club where celebrities actually show up. Have you ever been to a place like that? Yeah. So you know what it's like when a big celebrity walks in, like the energy just gets weird in the club. And then rumors start going like, yo, so-and-so here. And this night they're like, yo, Mike Tyson is here. This is 2005, right? And people are people are just going crazy. And I finally lay eyes on this motherfucker. And he's standing there just looking real uncomfortable. Blinking and shit into the lights, just being weird. And this is 2005 Mike. This ain't the Mike y'all knew who did like, what was that fucking movie, The Hangover? This ain't that Mike. This is, the tattoo is still pretty new on his face. This nigga's crazy Mike.
I notice a lot of the comics come up to you afterwards, and sometimes you go over to them. What kind of advice do you find yourself giving out a lot?
Just acknowledge the light. Yeah, you went you went long. Yeah, like tonight we had a young comic just go on a tirade about whatever it was, and it just wasn't funny. And I had to tell him like, hey man, you got into comedy to be likable. It's just like as a comic, I understand why that joke is funny because it's the complete opposite of the setup. But you got to remember where you are. Like it's just you don't really have the chops to make that funny. And in a 3-minute set, you don't have time to build a rapport with the crowd.
Right.
So like I told him, I go, if you had a long set, you could shit on yourself for a while and like be self-deprecating and let people know like, hey, I'm not a bad person at all. I have my own flaws. I have my opinions about things. And here's something that's outlandish. You know?
Yeah.
And but you just have to build that rapport with the crowd, and then you can get into some wild, weird, crazy shit that you don't mean, but you just think is funny.
He literally had just quit a fight a couple of months before, so he's super unstable. Everybody's like afraid of him and shit, right? And it's like I'm seeing him with my own eyes. I'm like, this is the dynamite kid. This is the baddest man on the planet. That's motherfucking Mike Tyson. That is crazy. So we still drinking and stuff, having a good time. My wife was like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be back. Cool. She goes off. And then I notice it's taking her a while to come back. And I'm looking across the club and shit. And I make eye contact with my wife. And she giving me the look like, can you come get this motherfucker away from me type look? Like some dude was trying to talk to her. You know, I'm a military dude, kind of in shape at the time. I'm like, hey, I'll take care of this, right? Put my drink down. And I get to see the whole situation. Do you know who she was talking to? Mike Tyson. This is the heavyweight champion of the world. I just look at the situation and I literally just turn my back on my wife. I pick my drink up. I mean, this is scary, Mike. He's there. Like Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch Out was scary. 8-Bit Mike was scary. So just imagine in real life, Mike. This ain't a fucking video game where you can punch you with one. This is it's him. That was him. I seen this motherfucker just crush people. What am I gonna do? And the tattoo on his face, that is the craziest shit in the world. Y'all know who Ngannou is? He's like the UFC champion. Dude, he is terrifying. Could you imagine that dude if he had a tattoo of Mike Tyson on his face? Like how much scarier?
What does it take to be a comedian?
I just say dedication and consistency. Some narcissism.
Okay.
Some narcissism, but at the same time, you can't have an ego. That's what's weird about it. It's just like you gotta be narcissistic in a way to get up there and do that and think that you're worth listening to.
Right.
And but you also you can't have an ego, you know, because the comedy gods and other comics will get you. You know, you just you know what I'm saying. You've been here before. It's just like you have a couple good shows in a row and you go, oh, I got this. And the comedy guys that you know, like, hey, you don't know shit. No. I will tell you, even the most seasoned comedian, somebody 30, 40 years in the game, the Seinfelds, all those dudes, they'll tell you, like, I know a lot, but I don't know shit about comedy. So I'll say what it takes is, it takes dedication, so consistency, a little bit of narcissism, and just a love of comedy. You gotta love it, because it's not, if you're not good at it, it's not gonna give you anything back at all. It's brutal when it's not good.
She walks over and she's like, didn't you see me over there with Mike Tyson and you ain't come get me? I was just like, yo, what the fuck was I really gonna do in this situation? It's just like, yeah. It's just like, you here now, right? She was like, yeah. I was like, well there you go. It's just, I don't really know how to end that story, but that shit really happened to me, man, because for years people would say, what would you do if Mike Tyson tried to talk to your girl? And it is turn your fucking back on her. That's exactly...
You've gone to some pretty big shows now. You're doing some bigger stuff, touring with some...
Yeah, I've toured.
How has that been?
I was out with Neal. I did 3 shows with him. That was fun.
Brennan?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. When I was done with that, then I got to open for Michael Che from SNL
Yeah.
a couple of times in DC, and that was a lot of fun, man. He's like one of my comedy heroes. I love him to death, and getting to work with somebody like that, it made my year. Yeah, so
That's awesome. Che's great.
Che is great. I got a man crush on Che.
Did you get to talk to him about like SNL, what it's like doing that?
No,
No.
no,
What did you and Che talk about?
No, I listen to him talk about shit. That's one thing you learn. It's like when you're in the presence of people like that, your job as a lower status comic is to shut the fuck up and listen. So yeah, they don't want to hear your stories. I mean, what could I tell him that he would go, "Oh shit, really?" This is like you're a head writer for SNL.
Can you think of anything you picked up from him?
Yeah, man. Just believe in what you're doing and just really honest. It sounds cliche and hacky, but really just be yourself. Like after working with him, I was just like, man, he's so relaxed. It's like he give a fuck, but he don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, as an artist, you have to care, but you can't care. You really have to care about what the audience thinks, but at the same time, you have to be true to yourself. And it, like trying to figure out what that means for you was really part of the journey. It's like how much of outside influence are you going to let in, and then how much are you really going to be yourself? And I think that the best comics are authentically themselves. You know, yeah, with a little bit of a little bit of polish on them because it's an art form and it's a performance. So you do have to learn that as well, like the performance piece of it. So I would say some of it is exaggerated, but they are speaking their truth for the most part, unless there's somebody blatantly lying.
Have you gotten to the point where you feel like you have your own voice?
You know what, man? I got a lot of stuff coming up next year, and if I'm being honest, I feel like I'm starting to find it. Like I told a story tonight about Mike Tyson trying to talk to my wife. Wasn't the funniest story, but like I'm on this journey of like, all right, most great comics tell stories about their lives, and like when I first wrote that story, it was like 3 or 4 lines long, and I'm like, that's not a story. Then I was like, all right, let me go back and try to add more detail. Now it's like 15 lines. And I'm just gonna keep going back until it's 20, then 30, and then just wilt it down to where it's like a solid 3 to 5 minute story about Mike Tyson trying to talk to my wife.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that process. Like I've never really been a storyteller, more of a setup punchline guy, but I realized I have to change my style up somewhat, and tell some stories about my life. Some unique stories, and I think that's going to help me propel to the next level. And I just got some other shit going on this year I'm excited about.
Anything you do want to promote on this video?
Check out my podcast, The Chris Allen Show. Comes out every Tuesday. It's on everything streaming. And if you happen to live in the Charlottesville area, we are here every Monday at the Southern. 7 o'clock sign-ups for the comedians, 8 o'clock showtime. And just check out Charlottesville Comedy on Facebook. And we're always doing shows here, so please just check out their Instagram page and their Facebook page and come out and see us here at the Southern.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.